Live tonight, it is the WFO Racing League Round 5 from the historic Milwaukee Mile, one of the most amazing racetracks in the United States. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. If you're joining us on Facebook, no, this isn't the first race we're doing for this league. We've done the previous 4 races. You can check it out on their YouTube channel, WFO Racing League. But we decided we're going to start streaming this up on our Facebook page, American Sim Network, as well. So you can watch us either on the WFO Facebook or on the ASN, or I got that backwards, on the WFO YouTube or on the ASN Facebook page. So, Jacob, how are you doing tonight as we get ready to go racing?
I'm doing fantastic. Haven't watched these old K&N cars in a while, so this should be a blast. And of course, my first time really watching these cars out on the Milwaukee Mile. I've always loved this circuit or racetrack, and I cannot wait to watch these cars race around it. I've noticed that, especially in turns 1 and 2, the cars get a little loose, so that'll be interesting to see if they can put the power down as fast as possible.
Yeah, that is for sure. It should be an interesting night. Right now, Adam McKinney was fastest. Aiden Young, he'll go to the top spot on the speed chart right now. Mason Weitzel, second quick. Third quick, Stephen Blankenship. Thomas Cristiano is 5th. And these drivers just looking to gain speed wherever they can. Now, what do you expect to see out of the main race? You mentioned drivers being able to put power down at the right times. That's going to be a big factor, of course. But what do you think the main thing to look for here is going to be tonight?
How aggressive do you want to be at the start of this race? That's going to be key because, of course, it is a short track. Tire wear won't be as bad, but, of course, it can play a factor just in case they go green. It is 150 laps here, so that could play a little bit of a factor into this race. Of course, these drivers will want to kind of just feel out the track, make sure that they can run it clean and get those tires heated up before they really go and attack. And that's really what I expect to see is drivers feeling each other out.
Yeah, Leo Lortz is 4th right now. Got a pretty good time going. Jeff T. Martin looking fast as well. We've seen him do pretty well these last few weeks, along with Trent Ripley now, 13th quickest. And you see Ryan W. Daniels out on his time in the Bobby Labonte throwback Pontiac Grand Prix. What do you think we see out of him?
Ryan W. Daniels has always impressed me in this league, as well as, of course, Aiden Young and Mason Weitzel and all these drivers. But I expect Ryan W. Daniels to have a good lap and most likely put it close to the top 10.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting to see here tonight. And you can see Daniels here, 17th fast. So he'll have to improve upon that quite a bit in the race. Now, he does have one more lap here, but I don't think he's going to gain on that too much. What do you think?
Exactly. It's very tough to gain on your second lap. He did put down a 31.282 in practice, so he could probably get a couple more tenths because it is possible, as seen in his practice.
Yeah, and he doesn't gain on it. He'll stay right where he was. I hate to say I'm not surprised by that. Like I said, this is a very hard racetrack to pick up speed at as it goes. You know, it's a bit easier at other tracks. You saw at Atlanta last night where you had drivers gain speed on their second lap, but that doesn't really happen here at Milwaukee. The first lap always tends to be your best one. This track is very abrasive on tires as well.
Another abrasive racetrack here. And it does remind me of, well, Atlanta and the way that, of course, the surface is one of the older surfaces in a racetrack for sure. So that will be an interesting play into, of course, this race to see if drivers decide to save tires or really go after it from the start and kind of have that cliff falling off maybe 20 laps in.
Well, one of the big things to talk about here tonight is going to be cautions, and how many of them do you think we're going to see? Last week we saw, or 2 weeks ago, we saw a pretty decent number. I believe what was that, at Dover International Speedway. So that's going to be the question, or Rockingham rather, my bad. But that's going to be the question to see is how many cautions do you think we're going to get? What do you think we see here tonight?
Oh, Rockingham is totally different than, of course, this track, as we all know. But Rockingham tends to be a slick racetrack as well, especially with these cars. So I would expect to kind of see a little bit of the same, but more of just they're racing side by side for position and accidentally touch, and then, of course, makes the car a little loose and they spin out from then on. So I expect more hard racing cautions to come out than, of course, just it being because it's a little too slick.
Yeah, we saw a record 16 cautions 2 weeks ago. Hopefully a little bit less than that. The 5 for 5, as I'm going to call it, bounty is up tonight, where I'll get the name for you in a moment, but one driver has put up a $5. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but hey, money is money. A $5 bounty if there is 5 or less cautions. So I would believe that goes to the winner then. It is 5 or less cautions, $5 to win. Call it 5 for 5 here on the WFO Racing Network or the American Sim Network if you're watching on Facebook. To all our viewers out there, whatever platform you choose to watch on, we hope you're having a fantastic evening as we count down to green and just about 12 minutes till we do so, getting ready to go green here on the American Sim Network. Well, what is your favorite part about the Milwaukee Mile, Jacob? For me, it has got to be the history of this racetrack. It is, I believe, one of the oldest racetracks in the world. Definitely probably the oldest in America, having started auto racing in 1903. So the history of this place is absolutely incredible. It stopped real racing around 2015, but lives on in the simulation world.
Yeah, exactly. There's been some fantastic races, especially in the when it was called the Busch Series. If I do recall that, where basically it's had drivers heated at the end of a race, or when they get wrecked out, and the comments, of course, afterwards have been just amazing. From when, of course, you get interviewed after you wreck out. So it's one of those things where it's a short track, and who doesn't love short track racing?
Yeah, without a doubt. And let's not forget, this racetrack at one time hosted the Green Bay Packers. This was in the early 1900s, from about 1934 to 1951, and it included the NFL champion game in 1939. So this racetrack has laid host to more historic events than just racing. It has laid host to significant football games, and I think it's just absolutely, like I said, absolutely incredible. And it's a great track to race, too. One of the most exciting things about Milwaukee, in my opinion, the pit lane entry. It is a pit road entry like no other, as it is really only a small cutout you have to go down pit lane. It's not like where you have a wide entry into the pits. We'll get a camera on it, and you can see your pit road entry. You have from that wall to the commitment wall, and that's about it. So it's a very challenging entry here at Milwaukee.
Exactly, that entry into pit lane very narrow, as I did see a couple of drivers trying to get into pit lane during practice. And so, well, that's going to be a tricky thing to watch how drivers are able to kind of balance that out, if you get what I'm kind of saying, or just make sure, just in case they do go green for a long time. So we could see a couple of cautions because of drivers trying to get down pit lane and not being able to, or a couple of drivers having to go back down pit lane because of the speeding penalty because they couldn't get the brakes locked up or slowed down in time because it's one of those quick entrances into pit lane as well. So that's something that you always have to watch out for, especially on short track racetracks like this.
Yeah, that is for sure. Now, what would be your keys to the race? If you're going to say maybe 3 keys to winning this race here tonight, what would your top 3 be?
Top 3. Well, one, stay out of trouble for sure because you can't win a race if, of course, your car is, well, kind of toast and out of it. You basically have to finish to win. And of course, 2 is tire management. If we do, which we will go on some green flag runs if I had to guess, who will have that long run pace in the end. That's going to be a key thing. Who's going to be able to save enough tires to have something really to give at the end. And then 3, I would have to say just the bump and run sometimes because that will help you out a lot. This track is very slick and, well, it's wide enough, but sometimes, of course, there's only one groove. So if you have to use the bump and run to move somebody out of the racing line, then you can do that.
Definitely some good points to any drivers that might be listening out tonight. Well, if you were to ask me, my 3 keys, my first one, stay out of trouble. Couldn't agree more, especially on pit road. We just talked about how dangerous that pit road entry is, and I think that's going to get a driver here tonight. I don't know who's it going to be, but if we have green flag pit stops, I'd almost bet on someone biting that pit road entry wall at some point here tonight. Number 2, as you said, it is a one groove racetrack, so find the line that works for you and don't let anyone near it. You're going to have to defend for it, and you better be able to. And number 3, last and foremost, have a good strategy. This is a hard track to pass at, and this race will be won and lost on pit road. You can mark my words on that. So if you got your strategy wrong, you have no chance to win before we even drop the green. So you have to have a good strategy to win here at Milwaukee. Those are my 3 keys to the race. As we are, again, minutes away from going green, we will start driver interviews. And let's talk to the one and only Iceman, Ryan W. Daniels. Ryan, have you got a copy on us?
Yes, I do. How you doing, sir?
Well, we're enjoying the countdown to green. 7 minutes till we hit the track. I'm sure you're enjoying the little cool down period. What are you expecting here from Milwaukee here tonight?
I'm not really sure what to expect. All I know is my car in particular has been really, really loose. So I'm going to just be doing my best to overcome that throughout the race and just try to get the best finish we can and try to make it into the playoffs.
Now, we're about, 4 races till we hit the playoffs here, and you're currently sitting in the point standings only 4 points out. Do you think you can get a win to be in, or do you think it's going to be a little bit, or do you think you're going to have to make it in on points?
I would like to have a win and get in, but obviously I'm just trying to be as forward thinking as I can be, and obviously the best way to get into the playoffs is to point my way in. So I'm just doing the best I can to get there first, and if a win comes and falls that way, then excellent. If not, then my fail-safe is I've put myself in a position to make it no matter what. So.
Well, you got a big fan out there watching here tonight. Good luck to you. And before we let you go, anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
I do. I want to thank Young Gun Creations, Peterson, Checker One Motorsports, Iceman Motorsports, my race team, all the guys on the team, Artie Peterson, Aiden Young, Joseph Andujar, Zach Kreiser, Nathan Shiflett, Matt Welsenbach, all the guys who help us out. Iceman Chassis, and then all my people who watch at home, all my friends, my family, and my girlfriend Samantha, who I appreciate watching each and every week. And I just hope that we get a good finish tonight. And yeah, I'm just hoping for a good run. That's all I need. And I think top 10 is about where I'd like to be. So.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us, man. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. I hope you have a good broadcast and enjoy the night, gentlemen.
All right. Well, Jacob, since it's your first night back here in the booth at WFO, I'll let you pick our next interviewee. Who's your pick?
All right, let's see here. I think we can. Let's go with Steve Blankenship. Haven't talked to him in a while.
You know what? That is a great pick right there. I'll let you get the word in with the one and only Steve Blankenship. Take it away.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Hopefully you're having a good time here, being able to practice and enjoying this cool down. What would you expect from this race on a short track race like this?
I hope we have a good run. Not many cautions, but the track's pretty slick. The car's pretty bad loose, so I don't know. Don't know what to expect yet.
All right, and of course, just about 4 races left till you get to the playoffs. What's kind of your mentality just going through the races to try and also not only make it to the playoffs, but just focus on what you need to do to try and win a championship?
Yeah, I think we'll be pretty good in the playoff races if we can make it to there.
All right, and what would be your strategy for at least tonight's race as well? Since of course the track is slick, would it be like tire saving or something like that?
Yeah, just trying to run without wrecking. I ain't had a whole lot of practice on this track, so I'm just going to try to survive, I guess.
All right, thank you for talking to us. And before we let you go, anyone that you'd like to thank or shout out?
Just thank you guys for all that you do, and thank WFO, and thank my teammates Leo and Jared and John. And we miss Greg.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us once again. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again, maybe throughout the race or even in victory lane.
I hope so. Thank you guys.
All right, real quick. What team do I put you back at? Sky Racing, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
10-4. All right, well, last up before we go green, 3 minutes now till we hit the green flag. So this will be a bit of a fast one, but we'll get a word in with the one and only Sean Doerr. Sean, have you got a copy on us?
Yes, sir.
Well, we are getting ready to go racing in what should be one of the most fun races of the season at the Milwaukee Mile. What do you expect out of this race here tonight?
Out of this race or out of me? Because you're right about one thing. It will be a fun race. But just watching, as sure as you and some of your fans have, it is extremely loose. And, that's all that has been going on in the pre-meeting was just basically drive smart, drive the track, because it is going to be crazy loose. So I don't even know what I was thinking when I qualified, but I'd rather be in the back and just taking my time like I always do every race. So,
well, let's talk about cautions for a moment. Do you expect to see a lot of cautions, a la Rockingham a few weeks ago? You expect to keep it green for a while?
Well, there was. I didn't say this, but there was a little incentive given amongst the guys. Could have been joking, I'm not sure, but they said $5 to the winner if we can manage to keep under 5 cautions. So, what do you think?
Well, I'm going to imagine drivers are going to do their best to keep it under 5 cautions, because who doesn't like the prospect of free money?
Okay, seriously. This would be where I'd be up in the booth with you and say, okay, Matt, how many cautions do you predict? I'm going to ask you that question.
Man, I hate to make a prediction on that because I don't want to say too many. But, I hate to say it, but I think we're going to see around 8. I mean, it's a short track. It's loose like you guys have been saying. I've heard it from you. I've heard it from other drivers. So I think that's where the magic number is going to be tonight, which still wouldn't be too bad for this kind of racetrack.
No, but, you and I go way back, and a lot of times you've been really close. So let's hope you're right. You're probably right. Actually, you're probably right on it, to be honest with you, but let's hope that's all.
Well, I got one last question for you before we go green, aside from the fact any sponsors you want to thank, naturally. But what do you think of the pit road entry? Do you think there's going to be issue there? Because this is probably one of the most difficult pit road entries around.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be the first caution. And it's because or not caution, obviously, but it's one of the trickiest things. And just watching in here, I've already seen like 6 people either miss it or hit the water barrels, whatever you want to call them. But and not only that, but it's just seeing people that are in front of you that try to you can't get out of their way. I mean, you're trying to work the corner and just be safe about it, and the next thing you know, you're right on top of it. So it's going to be interesting, and we'll see.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us. Real quick, before you guys have to grid up, any sponsors you want to give a big old shout out to?
Yeah, Old School Coins, which I'm going to get with you, and we're going to do this, man. And
Without a
Old School's
doubt.
Motorsports. Appreciate it.
All right, well,
Matt, I hope you have a great broadcast, dude. You're one of the best, and I hope you enjoy.
thank you very much, man. I hope you have a great race, and good luck on track. Good luck on pit lane. Certainly one of the most challenging aspects of this racetrack. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was Sean Dorr. We'll be gridding up. Speaking of gridding up, your starting lineup coming at you. Row 1, Mason Weitzel, Vern Bradley, both setting down absolute flyers of a lap. I tell you what, Jacob. Row 2, Aiden Young, Leo Lorch. Row 3, Glenn Jameson, Jeff Martin, Richard Holland, Artie Peterson, Stephen Blankenship, Tom Cristiano, Corey Cook, Sean Dorr, Trent Ripley, Jared Cox, Hal Amy, Adam McKinney, Ryan W. Daniels, Michael Updegraff, Ricky Fagone, Todd Craig, Garrett Hemlinger, Patrick Desaliner. I'm so sorry because I know I got that wrong. And Tim Hamlet rounds out your field. So, Jacob, what do you expect here? 125 laps of action coming at us in only a few brief moments.
Some great racing for sure, and so of course some of them will be a little aggressive, but at that same exact time, well, we all know that there's a bounty on the line for $5 for none other than less than 5 cautions. So these drivers will know that they'll want to, of course, none other than be safe. So a lot of tire management and, of course, some aggressive driving, but, of course, competitive.
Yeah, that is sure competitive and aggressive driving. Well, that can lead to a few different things, and hopefully cautions are not one of them. We'll see. Terribly sorry. We'll see how that all plays out. Yeah, again, forgive me if I'm coughing again tonight. Seasonal allergies are always a fun one, especially this time when you don't know if it's seasonal allergies or something worse. But I'm going with seasonal allergies. I always get congested around this time of year. So as we get ready to go racing, Vern Bradley will lead us to the green. Should be a great restart from Vern. Or I should say, it should be a great start. But yeah, Vern always gets good starts here at Milwaukee, really anywhere. So it should be a good initial as the clock strikes 9 on the eastern seaboard. Actually, that one's striking 8. I haven't yet set it ahead, so you can see how up to date I am. But rolling around through turn 4 now. Pace car down. Green flag is in the air. We're racing from the Milwaukee Mile. Side by side for the lead down into turns 1 and 2. Vern Bradley gonna edge out the 99 of Mason Weitzel. So Vern Bradley does a good job holding on to the lead. Behind him, Aiden Young and Leo Lortz battling it out for third place. Aiden Young will secure third. No surprise there. Leo got a little bit loose. Leo's hard into the inside wall. And we got cars around. Big crash. We got 131 car. I think he's got a problem. More than a problem. Richard Holland. And you can see here, Richard Holland. Well, the 63 got tagged by Artie Peterson. Richard Holland got around. Sean Dorr got a piece of it. And the worst part was, we talked to Sean. He said jokingly that he was going to be the first caution, and well, unfortunately, fate would have it that he wouldn't be the first caution, but he certainly got involved in it, unfortunately. And Yeah, you look at that 62 machine, there is a whole lot of damage on that car. And you see Richard Holland's hood making it a little bit hard for him to see as he goes down pit road. I don't know actually how he's managing to see. Can he get in his box? Yeah, good job. Luckily, they do have a fast repair. Jacob, what's your take on this? 1 lap in.
1 lap in, we kind of talked about it. It's just the track is slippery, and with this new tire model as well, it does not help that you have to get your tires warmed up, and it will take more than, of course, a couple of laps to really get your tires heated up to have at least a little bit of grip in those corners. So kind of expected to see an early caution like that, and we kind of see some early cautions in other leagues that we've been able to cover, but right afterwards we've seen these drivers go on long runs. So it's just the matter of getting used to the racetrack, getting used to how it's going to feel throughout this race, and so that drivers can really start to adapt from then on.
Yeah, 150 laps, the advertised distance here tonight. So a bit of a long one. So I'm sure these drivers probably hoping for not a lot of cautions. As we get ready to go back to green flag racing. Well, what do you expect here when we go green?
Well, I think we'll see some more, just great action, especially battling closer to the back of the field. We'll see probably Vern Bradley get a great restart, and other than that, maybe even Aiden Young take second position. So a little bit of battling, but for sure drivers will understand, look, the track is loose, so we'll need to just focus up and make sure that we keep our focus and not really let this track kind of take advantage of our skill.
Well, they'll double them up and we'll go racing here. I'll let you get the green flag now. But hopefully longer than the 1 lap that it was last run.
Hopefully, indeed. Like I said, I kind of expect them to start to go on a long green flag run now that drivers are kind of used to, well, we can lose it in turn 1. But very exciting. Cars down the backstretch now. Still moments away from going green. It's pretty interesting, this track. I kind of knew this, but not off the top of my head, that it is a mile racetrack. So it kind of drives a lot like New Hampshire, too. Of course, New Hampshire, I believe, is a little bit more tight, but still a mile racetrack that it is indeed. So just like a lot of these race cars, that's what they like to run on. As a pace car, moments away from going down pit lane. There it goes. And we are back racing here in Milwaukee.
Good start there from Vern Bradley, as always. Down into 1 and 2. Vern trying to pull away with it. And that's going to be the hard part here, is making a breakaway. This is not a track that lends itself to that happening, at least not easily. But Vern's got it open to almost 2 car lengths now, as they're not even done with their first full lap of green flag racing. They'll get that in this time by, and I think Vern will have the lead by a pretty significant margin. And he'll have it by about a car length there, down into turns 1 and 2 again. It looks like Aiden Young trying to get the race lead on Mason Weitzel. Or get second place, I should say.
A great battle right there, as well as also right behind them.
Yeah,
Talking about
Corey
a good
Cook.
battle of 14 of Jeff Martin is being chased by none other than Corey Cook.
And look at this. Here goes Aiden Young for the pass. And he dives it in deep. It's kind of what you got to do here at Milwaukee to make anything stick, and it does stick. Mason Weitzel, though, he's all over his back end. He might give him a shove, but it wasn't enough to upset the car to prevent that pass from happening. I wouldn't count on Mason not to try that again, though. Mason's a very aggressive driver. He likes to have his position. He doesn't like losing it. You saw Aiden, he got a wiggle out of the car there. He got a bigger wiggle there, but Mason gains no ground.
Exactly, a fantastic job by Aiden Young to be able to secure that position and try and pull away and maybe catch Vern Bradley. As we talked about him once again, Vern Bradley already up to close to a second of the lead. 6.624 was the last lap that, of course, his lead had gained to. So very impressive by Vern Bradley early in this race.
Yeah, Bradley knows exactly how to gain ground and exactly the right time to do it. Now is the best time to pull away when the tires are still fresh. Artie Peterson, Ryan Daniels' teammate, he's trying to go for a pass here. Looks like he'll wash up the racetrack quite a lot, but that's not going to matter too much. Ryan had a big wiggle, and there's the passer position. So by virtue of Ryan kind of losing control of the car to an extent, he easily makes that pass. Which is exactly what he wanted. Well, not what Ryan wanted, but exactly what Artie wanted. You see Ryan actually going to lose maybe 2 positions from that if Glenn Jameson can get to his back end.
Yeah, exactly. An interesting turn of events there, of course. That's just all that needs to happen for a good pass. You want consistency. Well, you can also stay behind somebody's bumper, especially at this racetrack, and make them kind of push the car just a little harder than they would like to. And, of course, they'll most likely make a mistake. And so you can take advantage of that. Exactly what happened there. And look for Artie Peterson to try and catch up to Hal Amy and maybe make a pass there.
And, you know, it's really impressive as well. I'm watching Glenn Jameson. He's got back-end damage. Not a lot of it, but enough of it. And he's got left front damage. But he's gaining a lot of ground on Ryan. I don't know if you noticed that, Jacob, but he's gaining on him. And I wonder if the damage is actually helping to stabilize his race car, you know?
Exactly. If you do have back-end damage, sometimes that can help you indeed. But talk about that, sometimes you just need a little bit of damage to get your car just a little tight to help it stabilize, especially at a racetrack like this where you're kind of sliding all over the place on a consistent basis. He might be able to make a pass here soon, but look at right behind him. I believe that is Jared
Cox. Yep.
He's trying to make a pass.
Well, Jared Cox is going to have to hold off the 62. Sean Doerr's got a little bit more speed there. And he does hold him off. Sean backed out of it there. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe he felt the car trying to get away from him. And that's actually going to lend himself to having Michael Updegraff kind of try to come up his outside there. But you go back to this battle for the lead here. Aiden Young is, nowhere near Vern Bradley. Vern has pulled away to about half a straightaway. I mean, that 14 car is absolutely taking everyone to the cleaners, and we're only 15 laps into this race. He's got a lot of speed now. You go look here at, recent race results from this season, and Vern has won 2 races out of the 4 we've done. He's won 2 of them, which is a pretty impressive result there, you know.
Sure, I mean, it's
I'd take a 50% win ratio.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Very impressive there. And, well, he's showing exactly why. I guess, in my sense, Vern Bradley was probably just saying to himself, I'm kind of tired of Aiden Young always winning in this league. Let me decide to go over there and show him how it's done there. To take 2 race wins in this season, very impressive, because, of course, when I was broadcasting this league with you back in the day about a year or so ago, we saw Aiden Young. He was one of the most impressive ones, I believe, winning the season that year too.
Yeah, he was the dominant factor to beat, but now it has gone back to Vern Bradley, which is funny because you figure season 1, if you remember, because you're referring to season 2, where Aiden was the dominant driver to beat. But if you go back to season 1, Vern Bradley was the dominant factor there. So it's kind of throwback to season 1 where we got that 14 car kind of leading, or the 114, I should say, leading. And it's great to see, though, he's still got every last bit of skill that he had. That
Exactly.
114 is fast, no denying it.
Yeah, exactly, and I mean, it's going to show Also, does he still have the pace in the long run, too? Yes, we have completed now just close to 20 laps. Of course, a couple of those laps being under caution, but for those green flag laps that we've had, will he still have that pace in 10 laps time?
And right now, watching back here, Richard Holland trying to gain some ground on Ricky Fagone. This is the battle for 14th place. You see Holland in that 31. You know, he was caught up in that first wreck, and he's trying to gain back as much as he can. Now, what's interesting is these drivers getting spread out to an extent, so do you think that means not a lot of cautions here tonight?
It's very possible. Not a lot of cautions. I think we only will see maybe another caution when pit stops come into play, just trying to enter pit lane, trying to avoid drivers who are getting on the low line to try and enter into pit lane here, because that's going to be a case of what we've kind of seen from other race leagues as well as just in iRacing in general. Sometimes that happens, especially with how narrow this pit lane is. That could be a possibility. So yes, I do expect to see another caution closer to the pit cycle when cars start to go down pit lane. But for now, with the single filing, I don't expect to see a caution anytime soon.
And right now, you see Michael Updegraff all the way back in 18th place. So he's got a lot of ground to make up. 18th is, of course, bottom of the field right here. You see Artie Peterson trying to hold off Trent Ripley. And it looks like Trent's got a lot of speed in that 09 car. He got a good run off that corner.
Really did indeed, and it looks like Artie Peterson kind of got loose there, so he'll dive it up the inside. Will it be able to stick?
They're just going to have to be very careful not to make contact here. That could go very wrong very quickly. They'll go down the back stretch. Artie will hold on to the spot, at least for the moment, and that's going to be, oh, that's tight. Really close there. I thought they might have touched going into that corner. I didn't get a good angle on it. They'll be side by side down across the start-finish line. Trent Ripley gets the spot. I think Artie probably realized how close they were through 3 and 4 and said, you know what? It's a little bit early for that.
Exactly. I really saw that out of the corner. He kind of lifted off there. Yes, they were extremely close going into that last corner. I mean, you're talking about it. Just a little too early to make those moves, even though, of course, they are 25 laps into this race now.
Yeah, they're getting on in the race, but still well over 100 laps to go. You've actually got about 126 laps left in the show right now. So a lot of racing left. A lot of stuff can still happen. You don't want to be getting into those kind of door-to-door situations. At least to me, you don't want to be getting into that. I think it's too early. You want to save that car for the end.
Most definitely, it's a little too early to basically make those moves. But, of course, these drivers still want to kind of battle. And the question is, who will be able to save enough of their tires for a late run in this stage?
Well, I think that's just going to come down to probably, someone that's in kind of in no man's land right now, Corey Cook, Jeff Martin, Thomas Cristiano, because right now they're not racing around anyone except really themselves, maybe Hal Amy as well. They're racing around themselves, so they have the ability to save their tires, as opposed to, say, Artie or someone back there who's in a group of drivers and they're having to race for their positions. And I think that's where we'll see someone that might potentially be able to stretch it come from. If anyone, I'd look to Hal Amy, because he's always been good at saving his equipment. you know?
That is a good pick right there for Hal Amy. He is in a good situation as well, just kind of has the distance between him and the pack in front of him, as well as the pack behind him. And we talked about it. This is a track that you don't necessarily see the cars. You can gain a lot of speed or lose a lot of speed. Basically, they're really close together, so it's going to be interesting to see if that can continue for his car and everybody else around.
And you actually see Hal Amy now closing in on Thomas Cristiano. This is a battle for what will become 6th place. You think Hal's got what it takes to get by that 58?
It's very possible that he will have enough to get past the 58. The question is, when will the move have to be basically done, as he is closing in on him pretty well. So you talk about Thomas Cristiano being caught right now, and it's going to be a great battle when it does come. I say a couple of laps, he'll be able to make that move.
And right now here, 31 laps into the race, Vern Bradley has a lead of about almost 7 seconds. And Aiden Young has an even bigger lead of, what is that, about 14 seconds I'm looking at? Or no, of about 7 seconds himself. So everyone, the top 3, is spread out. They're all in their own little zip code, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy to see how spread out this whole pack is, but I mean, that's just going to be for...
Yeah, I think it's going to be like that for the majority of this race right now, unless we get a caution to really put everyone back together. You see Mason Weitzel a lap down. I would imagine he's either pitted or something's gone terribly wrong. I would have to say he's pitted because I don't think he had an incident happen to him yet. And yeah, I think it is pit stops. You see Sean Doerr, Ryan Daniels at the back, but then no, they're not pitted yet. So what do you think?
Well, I mean, probably in the next... We'll see drivers pit, because some of these races, especially in the K&N cars, at tracks like this, can go for 45 laps. And, normally in those races, you don't pit. So around that time, we could probably see the pit window open up and cars start to come down pit lane, just basically because, they would need tires, and you don't really want to stay out too long on a set like that.
And right here you can see 35 laps in. When do you expect these drivers to start to hit the pits?
Like I said, around lap 45 or so. Still plenty of time for them to go and try and improve their positions for now.
Yeah, and right here, side by side, you see Glenn Jameson falling back as well. And that's a problem for Glenn. And you saw the last lap. I don't know if you saw it, Jacob, but he got very loose off of turn number 2. So I think that might be another issue here, is as these tires wear out, these cars are getting increasingly loose potentially. And that might be a big problem for these drivers. Look at Jared Cox. I don't know if you saw that, but he got a big wiggle out of that thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jared Cox did get a little loose, but look at this. Chance on the inside for a pass from Glenn Jameson on Jared Cox. Jameson is going to be able to make the move. Just Jared Cox is on that high line and is not able to do anything about it.
Yeah, that is for sure. Not much can be done. Glenn trying to fight back for position. He'll wash up the that is the 09 there of Trent Ripley. And he'll wash up the racetrack just a little bit, not by much. But still, that's going to be a problem there if they wash up and potentially up into someone there. And you can see, like you said it best, Jacob, Jared Cox just a sitting duck. He's going to have to get down to that bottom lane. I think, what was that, his teammate there let him in line, and that's probably the best thing that could have happened to him right there, is he'll get by Trent Ripley again.
Exactly. You can already see, especially from that group, that, well, these drivers want new tires. They want fresher tires, just due to the fact that when you're sliding up on the racetrack and have basically, and you can't do anything about it, that's about time for you to get those newer tires. And of course, we all know flat tires now are a huge thing, and especially in this K&N car, where basically the tire can go flat. We've seen it already happen this season in, well, different leagues that we've been able to cover, Matt, but it goes the same way in the K&N series, in the WFO series, especially with these K&N cars. If you push it too much, it could be a problem where your car could just not want to turn and go straight into the wall.
Yeah, and, you know, another problem, and you're touching on it right now, is the issue of just blowing out your tires. How much can you push these race cars? And that's going to be another big question, I think.
Exactly. I would probably have to guess when a couple of drivers come down pit lane and check on how much tread was left on their tires. The right side could say maybe 30% of tread left at the end of it. So that's something that, well, we'll have to keep an eye on for other drivers. And that's why we've kind of seen the growth and not a lot of passing going on. What I mean by growth is basically the growth of, well, single filing and the spreading out.
And you see Jared Cox still trying to hold off Trent Ripley. We've been watching this. It's been an exciting battle, but we'll take a look. Artie Peterson, Hal Amy. Artie gets by Hal, and Hal gets sent to the outside. Ricky Fagone. Looks like Ricky might get the pass, and that's the problem. When you get put on that outside lane, as we said, you know, you just keep getting sent back, and you keep getting sent back anyway. And that's the problem right there. You see Hal gets sent back even more. Luckily, he'll be able to slot in line and won't get passed by Richard Holland, at least not yet. And that's the lucky thing for Hal Amy right there. Now, if you had to pick a driver other than Vern Bradley to potentially win this race, who would it be?
I have to go with second place, Aiden Young. Kind of been a fan of him in this league, but all joking aside, he looks like he has that speed that if a strategy call were to come into play, he would be able to beat Vern Bradley pure on strategy and also skill. So I would have to go with Aiden Young.
Yeah, and that's a lot of speed he's going to have to pick up. Do you know what that gap is now? It's open to the tune of 13 seconds, as Aiden will be the first driver to hit the pits. And that might just be the strategy call he needs. Vern Bradley starting to put drivers a lap down. But he'll hit the pits as well.
I mean, it's a smart call for sure. You want to undercut, you want to do something, get some clean air in you and push. That's a perfect strategy call for sure. Now, Vern Bradley, a different thing, has been, well, how much can I save throughout this race as well as push? He's gotten himself a lead of 13 seconds. Now he's in pit lane, just like you said before. But the question is, where will he come out of pit lane in the likes of, well, none other than Aiden Young?
Yeah, I bet you the fact that we had Aiden pit first, I bet you that might have given Aiden the lead there. What do you think?
Very possible that is the case. That's why Vern Bradley came down pit lane as fast as possible to try and cut that off, as he does slide in ahead of none other than third place for a while there.
Watching these pit road entries, this is pretty difficult pit road entry here. Luckily, all these drivers so far have successfully gotten in. But yeah, Vern Bradley now in 5th. Did Aiden Young have something go wrong if Vern's up to 5th and then Aiden's actually lost position?
Very possible that did happen. I'll take a look at his pit stop. Could also be that, well, yeah, he might have had something go tremendously wrong. It looks like he got in pit lane fine, so down pit lane, got in his stall. Backs one up.
And right now, Vern Bradley got back to the race lead there. Sean Dora up to third. Aiden Young dropped to fourth. So that might not have worked out too well for Aiden Young, actually.
Exactly. His outlap looked fine, so it's just, I guess,
By nature of
just a
pitting
little
early,
too
maybe.
early.
Yeah, might have wanted to have been like the second one down, potentially. We got one driver up into the outside wall. Mason Weitzel has had a problem. And what happened to him? Did he have a tire go down? No, he rode the wall down the front back stretch. Rode it through 3 and 4. I don't know what happened to Mason. I don't think it was a tire gone down. Yeah, it doesn't look like he lost a tire, but he rode that entire wall and then slams the inside pit barrier. I guess that's his way of ending his race. I don't exactly know what he was thinking there, but I don't know what his whole plan with that was. I mean, did you see that, Jacob, or was that just me going crazy?
No, he's dropping places for sure. Something did go wrong, and it is an interesting turn of events for Weitzel, as he was having everything go right, and sometimes, of course, the car can get tight and just slide up the racetrack, and might have been a thing that actually happened.
Out of sheer frustration, looks like he'll just might have been the end of his night, and that's unfortunate to see. You never want to see that happen to a driver. Well, Vern Bradley holds on to the race lead as he continues to put drivers a lap down. So far, 9 drivers remain on the lead lap. How many drivers do you think will finish this race on the lead lap at this rate?
Well, the way that Vern Bradley has been able to dominate this race, it could be a possibility that he can lap all the way up to maybe even the top 5. We could even see Aiden Young get lapped to where just Vern Bradley dominates that race. I think we've seen that happen before in this league, and well, it's very possible that will happen again tonight with Vern Bradley if, of course, we don't see a lot of cautions, which that's been the case so far. And even after the first set of green flag pit stops, you could actually see this whole field get lapped.
And you can see here Aiden Young still second place, third place Corey Cook, Artie Peterson, Richard Holland, Jeff T. Martin looks like he's next on the chopping block here. And it is absolutely, I mean, it's crazy to see a driver dominate like this, but it's impressive to watch it to that same effect, you know?
Exactly. It's always impressive to watch a driver like Vern Bradley, or just a driver in general, dominate a race like this. Yes, some people can say, well, it's kind of boring, and well, it's no fun when everybody's a lap down. But think about it. That just shows you they practiced, they learned this racetrack, and they were ready for anything that the weather or the race threw at them. And so right off the bat, he had the best restart, he had the best start, and well, it's shown. that he was just ready for this race. He's been ready for this season as well, looking to maybe even claim a championship in about 8 weeks' time.
Yeah, without a doubt, he has been getting himself all ready for it and putting in the practice when he needs it, and it shows with the sheer skill that he's got here tonight. Richard Holland, Thomas Cristiano battling it out, and looks like Ricky Fagone holding on to 5th. How much longer do you think he'll hold off Cristiano?
Well, I mean, it all depends on what he decides to do. And why I say that is because, well, Thomas Cristiano could try and push as much as possible to try and pass Ricky, but at that same exact point, it does not help each other out with just trying to race each other in this early of a stage. There's still plenty of racing to go. Yes, it's less than 100 laps, but we've still got plenty of racing left.
Yeah, right now, under 100 laps to go. Vern Bradley has now put it to 5 drivers on the lead lap. Thomas Cristiano hits the pits. Ricky Fagone holds on to 5th. And Vern Bradley still pulling away with it. Corey Cook does a good job in 3rd. Artie Peterson 4th. Do you think Fagone catches him?
It's possible that he will be able to catch him in no time. It just, of course, will be how much does he want to push.
Yeah, we'll see how it all plays out. I'd imagine he's going to want to push quite hard, considering he's got Vern Bradley just kind of breathing down his neck right now, looking to put him a lap down.
Exactly. But yeah, how much will he want to push? Will he want to stay flat, basically? Because
Looks
right
like
now
he's pushing it hard.
On this pace, as he is pushing it hard, no matter what, we'll lap everybody.
And caution flag flies. Leo Lortz has gone around on the front stretch. Looks like he got loose, tags the pit lane wall. Just enough to bring out a caution flag, so Vern Bradley, he'll keep it to 5 cars on the lead lap. Crazy turn of events. We'll be right back here on ASN. We're back live. Jacob Young getting you with the green. 86 laps to go.
86 laps to go. Artie Peterson will be the one to bring us to the green, which will be interesting. Vern Bradley was the only one to basically take tires, so that'll be an interesting restart here. That's pace car moments away from going down. And there we go. Goes into pit lane, and we're back racing here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, good restart there for Artie Peterson. That is exactly what he needed. As they got out and away down the backstretch now. And you can see Artie Vern Bradley trying to gain ground. Now, this is not what Vern Bradley wanted. He did not need that caution.
Not indeed. I mean, we talked about it. He was basically lapping the whole field, and now we'll have to fight for first place. We'll even have to fight for second place as Aiden Young able to cut inside and maybe even challenge for the race lead as they're going to go side by side through turns 3 and 4, and he's going to be able to take it. Now Artie Peterson goes out of the way, and now Vern Bradley will get second place just like that.
And you can see side by side for the moment it was Vern Bradley now gonna try for it on Aiden Young, and you know Aiden Young's gonna fight it off with everything he can. He does not want to give that lead away.
He does not, but he left the door open for a side by side. He's gonna be on the outside line, which hasn't been the preferred line tonight.
Yeah, that is for sure, and there it is. Vern Bradley back to the lead. And you can see Aiden Young, he's got a lot of work to do. Vern's already setting sail.
All Vern Bradley needed was some clean air to get back in front and to be able to push just like he was before. Now, of course, Aiden Young is going to try to get him back, but as the last run, we have seen Aiden Young try to do the exact same thing to take the lead back, but I believe he burned off his stuff and so had a problem with trying to get caught back up with Vern Bradley, and that's what led him to a 13-plus second race lead where he was able to lap more than half the field.
And right now you can see Corey Cook trying to catch up to the two of them, but one thing I'm noticing, Vern's not pulling away quite as quickly as he did last time. Aiden Young is staying within a reasonable distance to him, and that might be a big factor here. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. That could be a factor, but he did gain 2 tenths, close to 3 tenths on Aiden Young through that lap. So, a little bit of a problem for Aiden Young, but at this time it could all be that Vern Bradley just needed to warm up his tires to really push away.
Yeah, that is true. He's got that gap open to almost a full second there. Corey Cook third, Ricky Fagone, Jared Cox. Look at Stephen Blankenship a little further back, but Steve Blankenship right there battling it with Glenn Jameson. Glenn's a lap down, but he's not giving up the fight, which is pretty interesting to see as we're watching these guys race it out. So, what do you think here of these drivers? Do you think we see another caution? That's the big question.
I definitely think that we'll see another caution. It will come later into the race, closer to the end of the race for sure, but, well, I mean, it's not going to stay green forever. And exactly my reasoning behind that is, well, drivers will be pushing to try and gain every position possible because now points is especially critical now that Vern Bradley has won 3 out of the last 5 races, or might win 3 out of the last 5 races here. And so it'll be interesting to see if continues that, they'll try and push as hard as they can closer to the end of the race, and that's why I believe a caution will happen.
Yeah, and right now you can see 75 laps in, still 76 to go. Trent Ripley looks like he's trying to hold off Sean Dorr, which is pretty exciting to watch right here. Now, like I said, you say Aiden Young probably the best bet to win this race other than Vern Bradley. Do you see a situation in which Vern Bradley potentially doesn't win this race?
I think it would have to go down to strategy. That's really the only way that I would see Vern Bradley not really winning this race, is if Aiden Young decides to pit at a perfect time, a couple laps after maybe one driver or a couple laps later than he did before, then it could be possible where he could get the race lead and try to fight Vern Bradley off with all of his might, and then probably win it on that type of strategy. Maybe even staying out longer than Vern Bradley could be a strategy, but of course you don't want to be the overcutter, you really want to be that undercutter.
And right now you can see here that gap is just opening up more and more. Now up to a second and a half with 74 laps to go. So just a lot of racing left here, and I got a feeling that we're going to see probably maybe 3 or 4 cars left on the lead lap at the end of it.
Yeah, that will probably be the case, just like we saw last time. Now that Vern Bradley is pulling away, that most likely we could see 3 to 4 cars left on the lead lap, or maybe even 0. I think that is a full possibility as well, where Aiden Young just can't be able to catch Vern Bradley, and Vern Bradley takes it to his advantage and is able to lap the whole field. We've seen it in, of course, video games, but we've also seen it here as well in iRacing.
Right here, 80 laps in, battle for position. Hal Amy looks like he might lose ground to Richard Holland. And I say battle for position, Hal is a lap down. And you can see here, there you go, there's the pass. And again, not for position though, but still good run by Richard Holland, making up ground. Holland's had a pretty fast car here tonight. What do you think?
Indeed, he has. Sits in 5th place, qualified in 7th position, so has gained a couple of places, but has known how to run this racetrack throughout the race. Hasn't been able to take advantage of his opportunities, and what I mean by that is, well, sits in 5th place, hasn't lost ground, and that's really all you can do in a race like this, where the field spreads out pretty quickly after the first couple of laps.
Yeah, right now 81 laps in, 70 to go. Aiden Young down to about 2 seconds. Look at Ricky Fagone, though, going for 3rd place. It'd be a good pass if he can make it here. Down into 3 and 4. What do you think? You think he gets the pass?
Very possible that he can get the pass. He'll just have to make his move work at the correct time. But right now, of course, he'll stay behind him.
And you can see here, looks like Corey's going to run it wide. That'll let Ricky gain a little bit of ground. That might set up for a pass into 3 and 4, down into the corner now. And there you go. Ricky gets the spot. Yes, he does. So good pass by Ricky Fagone there. That's exactly what he needs. Corey Cook fights back on the outside lane, though. And it's not going to be enough, though. So 67 laps to go. When do you think we see these guys hit the pits?
The last green flag run was about close to around 45 laps. I don't know exactly how long it was, but in my eyes, I see around that long, close to 30 or 40 plus laps where they can run on these sets of tires. Yes, it might feel terrible after they basically hit the 20 lap marker on these tires, but make your stints work and make it to the end. You have to go close to about 40 laps on one set of tires.
And you can see here, 85 in, it is all Vern Bradley leading the show to the tune of 5 seconds on the rest of the field. Right now, looks like 15 drivers left on the speedway. And actually, it looks like 14. Sean Dorr calling it out here tonight. So 14 drivers left in this race. How many do you think finish?
14 drivers left in this race. Well, hopefully 14 drivers finish this race. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if more drivers end up having to retire, but it's just been the nature of this racetrack. It is the Milwaukee Mile. It's a lot like the Monster Mile in the sense that it can really ruin your day and frustrate you to the point where you just want to call it a day and move on to that next week. So very possible that there could be less, but hopefully 14 drivers do finish.
Yeah, and right now, looks like everyone really just kind of spread out. Jeff Martin all by his lonesome. Ricky Fagone still with Corey Cook, and it looks like Corey Cook got back past him. You think Ricky makes another pass at it?
I think Ricky will try and make another pass at it. He'll just have to set up his line correctly. He's got enough pace for sure throughout this race. He's already made the pass a couple of times. Now, does he have the stuff to do it? Most likely he does as well. He's just been very consistent on his lap times, and that battle has just been going on almost all race long. So I would expect him to try to make a move right back and to most likely get it done.
And right now, 90 laps this time by 61 laps to go. We got a car around. It is Aiden Young. And it looks like Aiden Young might have gotten loose there through 3 and 4. Yeah, I think he got loose. That or he was trying to drift, but my guess is more so on getting loose. But either way, caution flag flies. 61 laps to go. We'll be right back.
Indeed, he has, but we'll see if Ricky Fagonda has anything to say about it, as he'll be on the outside line. We're moments away from going back racing here. Just waiting on the pace car to drop down inside of the pit lane. There it goes. And we're back racing here at Monster Mile. Wow, at the Milwaukee Mile, what I meant to say. That sun is definitely going down indeed. It is, well, you're not wrong, because it is 3:09. Sometimes the sun does start to come down. This starts to set at around that time, but normally, yeah, I would have to say a bit of cloud coverage for sure, as it is partly cloudy. But yeah, 3:09.
Jacob Young will be getting us with the green flag. 50 laps to go.
50 laps to go indeed, and once again, none other than Vern Bradley will lead us to the green. Now on the outside will be Ricky Fagonde, and we'll see if he has anything to say about this restart as the pace car goes down. And we are back racing here at the Milwaukee Mile. What a restart once again by Vern Bradley.
Yeah, good restart there. Not surprising to see, though. Vern has been, like we've said, just, on top of things all night. So for him to pull away, it's not surprising at all. And with 50 laps to go, I don't think anyone's really going to have a shot at catching him here tonight. What about you?
Would be a possibility, but yes, with 50 laps to go, if he does go back out to maybe a 5-second lead, even just that might be too much for this pack behind him to catch up to, as he's already got a decent lead there. Car in the background, or car in the backfield to be exact, got a little loose there, but we stay green. As there we go, one around.
And it is, who was it? The 09 Trent Ripley, maybe? No, it was Stephen Blankenship, actually. And Trent Ripley dove it in deep, trying to get by him, and it did not work. So we'll talk to Steve there. Steve, have you got a copy on us?
Yes, sir.
Well, from your perspective, walk us through that one.
I might have braked a little early there, but it was just tight racing, really.
All right, how's that car been handling for you here tonight?
Do what, Matt?
I said, how's that car been handling here tonight?
Well, after a few laps, it come in pretty good. It was doing pretty good there. I think we'll be all right here. I think we're going to have to go to the end of the longest line, but...
All right, well, thank you for talking to us. Best of luck to you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, and that was Stephen Blankenship there. We'll be right back.
You will go back racing here. This time by as we're in turns 3 and 4. Once again, Vern Bradley leads us to the green as Jared Cox will be on his outside. So we'll see how that plays out as the pace car goes into pit lane. We're back racing here at the Milwaukee Mile. Another fantastic restart by Vern Bradley.
Yeah, fantastic start there for Vern Bradley. Out and away, exactly what he needed. We're just under 50 laps to go here, so that could have been the final pit stop of the race, the one they had a few laps ago.
Exactly, it could have been that final. Well, it could have also been the final restart too, as well as that final pit stop. And why I say that is because, well, if these drivers get stringed out once again, kind of going single file, then that will be a good key of where we'll most likely just see these drivers finish the race under green.
Well, for the drivers, they're hoping it's the final caution because that was the 5th caution. And you know what that means? If there's one more yellow, that 5 for 5 bounty is off the table.
Exactly, yeah, for these drivers. Of course, with that 5 for 5 bounty, they do not want to have another caution. It looks like these drivers will do exactly that, kind of just single filing out from the back as we got one driver on the outside line. He'll lose a couple of positions. I believe that was Ryan W. Daniels there.
Corey Cook dives it in deep on Richard Holland. He'll get 3rd. Oh, that came close to being a spin. Luckily, he held on to it, though. Good save, good save. And you see Aiden Young, he's a little bit impatient to get his way through the field here.
Exactly, being in 2nd place for most of the race, and now, of course, having to find his way all the way back up into, well, the top 3, of course, would be frustrating considering he had that early spin in the race with about, 70 to go or so. So, of course, he's trying to get it all the way back to the front of the field.
And right now you can see here Aiden Young still 5th place. 2nd place, Jared Cox. He's having a great run right now. I gonna be honest, I would not have predicted him to be able to get up to 2nd, but I mean, he's managing to do it right there.
Exactly. Things have changed so far in this race, and just drivers going from the top 5 to basically the top 10, and different drivers just switching around, and it's been very impressive so far to see how all of it has changed. And well, you can have some luck involved in racing, that's for sure.
And right now looks like Aiden Young dives it in next to Jared Cox. This will be 4th place, and there it goes. He might even get 3rd on Richard Holland if he can make it work, and that would be pretty impressive to see. 38 laps to go. There he goes. So there's 4th place as well. Or, yeah, 3rd place, rather.
Fantastic move right there, able to take 3rd place, well, right back. And so it's exactly what he wanted to do. And now, of course, trying to fight for 2nd place is where he had been. And maybe one more caution could see him have an opportunity at a race win. Yes, not the 5 for 5 bounty, but maybe an opportunity at the race win, because it seemed like he was the driver, one of the only drivers to really keep up with Vern Bradley for at least a lap.
Yeah, that is for sure. Vern Bradley already pulling away to about almost 5 seconds of a lead. So the only problem there, of course, is going to be the problem's just going to be here that Aiden Young is going to need a caution to catch Vern, and I don't think we're going to get that caution because these drivers, probably, like I said, they're doing everything they possibly can to avoid that. As we get on to about 35 laps to go this time round, what do you expect here, Jacob?
Well, I expect kind of the exact same thing as what we're seeing right now. A couple of battles throughout the field, but really just cars starting to even single file out even more because of, well, just the laps on their tires. It doesn't take a lot of laps on these tires for them to start to feel the car handling a little differently than, of course, maybe they would like to, or maybe they are really feeling it with how many laps are on the tires. So it all depends on how the drivers really like the car handling.
And right now, 117 laps into the race. This race has been going on pretty well so far. As the sun continues to go down, I know it is a little bit cloudy too, but I definitely saying that sun is starting to set. Luckily, I don't think there's enough racing left to where racing into the nighttime is going to be a factor. But, oh man, could you imagine if it was?
Exactly, that would change the whole complexity of this race to, well, just its core, kind of to the difference. Because why I were to say that is, well, just when it becomes nighttime here, it's a totally different race. And it's almost like the snowball derby, in my opinion, the feel of it at the nighttime here at the Milwaukee Mile.
And right now you can see 119 laps in. They are all under a blanket for second place. If Aiden Young gets it back, do you think he has a chance to chase down Vern Bradley?
It's a very small chance for sure, but he'll have an opportunity to chase down Vern Bradley as long as it stays below 10 seconds. If he can get around Corey Cook pretty quickly, then I think he'll have an opportunity to try and catch Vern Bradley. Now, of course, Vern Bradley's out with the 6-second lead, and you talk about that, it's almost going to be out of reach because of the fact that he's also cooling his tires. So if he does need to start to push, he can be able to push, which would be Vern Bradley.
Well, it's all going to be a matter of just if there's a caution. I know these drivers don't want it, but if any driver wants it, I'm sure Aiden Young's going to want it because it would allow him to potentially catch Vern. Outside of a yellow, I really don't see any way in which he will, because I don't think we're going to get another pit stop either, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah,
there
no
you go. Jeff Martin has had it in at the end of turn number 4. And just as Sean Dorr said in his interview, he tags the water tanks, whatever you want to call them, the pit lane divider, and it brings out caution number 6. It ends the 5 for 5 and ends Vern Bradley's 6-second lead. Everyone will likely come down pit lane. We'll stay with you till they pit, and this will be the final pit stop of the night unless we have another yellow. So, I mean, you know, what do you think now? What would be your strategy if you're Vern Bradley?
Even if you're Vern Bradley, you go down and pit. Everybody's going to have to pit for tires if, well, they want a fast race car. I don't see the reason why you would stay out. You will just lose all the positions that you gained if you did exactly that, because you don't want to block and you don't want to ruin your opportunity at maybe even a decent finish. So yes, all these drivers are looking like they're going to go down pit lane, and that is, of course, the smart decision. Now, do you have enough fuel? Most likely you do. You just need those 4 fresh tires.
Well, everyone hits the pits. We'll see what happens here. We'll take a look at the running order as they exit pit lane. And you can see the main goal of these drivers going to be the first one off, beat Vern Bradley, and it looks like, well, 3 drivers will do it. Vern Bradley comes out third. We'll dial up Vern Bradley, get his perspective on this. Well, Vern, have you got a copy on us?
Yeah, I got you.
I mean, you know, you've led most of the race here tonight. Undoubtedly the fastest driver on track. You come out third at pit lane. What do you expect for, the final, what is this, under 30 laps to go?
Now I got a fast hot rod tonight, so I'm happy about that. I just got to keep the nose clean on the thing and not get too stressed out. Had a bad pit stop there. Just gotta stay calm, confident, and go out and get.
Now, what is your secret here to being so fast, if you could tell us?
Well, I don't know, these flat tracks with when the car's a little bit unstable and loose, it's a lot of throttle control, and I think that's the advantage for it.
All right. Well, anyone you want to mention, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I got to thank WFO iRacing Classifieds. Want to thank everybody at WFO Racing League, American Sim Network, you guys, Matt, for broadcasting. Everyone in the league, anyone that's part of this that makes this happen. Admins, Tim Hamlet, Garrett Helmlinger. Thank you guys. That's what makes WFO possible.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us, and best luck to you in the remainder of this race.
Thank you guys.
Oh, God. Excuse me. I hate this stupid cough I've got, and I have no idea what's causing it. Again, I'm convinced it's allergies. At any rate, Jacob Young will get you with what might be the final restart of the night.
All right. So they're filing back up here for this restart. Down the back straight it goes. Aiden Young back in the race lead here, and he'll start right beside Richard Holland. Now, of course, everybody trying to beat the one and only Vern Bradley as he's led most of this race. He's just had a really fast car tonight, and that's been the difference maker. He's had great restarts, so we'll see if maybe he can even help Aiden Young really get even the best restart possible. As we head into turn 4 now, pace car moments away from heading into the pit lane. We'll get things restarted right after that. As there he goes, a pace car in pit lane. We're back racing here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, good restart there for Aiden Young. That's what he needs. He's going to have Vern Bradley charging up right behind him now. And the question is, do you think he'll be able to... Oh, boy, big crash. Jared Cox gone around. Looks like Jared got loose into Jameson, into Peterson. Artie with nowhere to go. Yeah, it's right up into the outside wall right there. So on the list of things you were expecting to see, and there goes Artie's hood at probably roughly around 100 miles an hour. On the list of things that he wanted to have happen to that car tonight, I can't imagine that being high up on it. And you can see from in car, I don't know how he's seeing. We'll look at his cockpit cam, but yeah, that is, You know, Jacob, if you had that view, would you be going as fast as he was? Because I don't think I would be.
Exactly, I wouldn't either.
I'd be limping that thing.
Exactly, same deal here. But of course, a lot of drivers, sometimes even behind you, don't necessarily know why you're going slowly. And luckily, of course, you have voice chat on iRacing, so you get to tell the drivers what you're doing and why you're going that slowly. So, yeah, of course, I'd be limping that thing home. But of course, after practice, sometimes you can kind of feel and figure out that, oh, there's a car in front of me, I can do this and that and be okay. So it just, I guess, takes practice for you to run with, well, not a lot of visibility.
Yeah, I mean, a good job on him getting it into the box. Looks like he'll be putting 4 fresh rubbers on it and then probably getting that damage repair. You see that right front axle, little bit beat up. But, yeah, so turn of events here. Aiden Young, still your race leader. We'll have under 20 laps to go when we go green. We'll be right back. Well, Jacob Young will be getting us with what may very well be the final restart of the night. Take it away.
All right, here we go. Aiden Young on the inside line once again will take us to the green flag with Vern Bradley on his outside. We'll see who gets the better restart here as the pace car in turns 4, moments away from diving down into pit lane. Back racing here at the Milwaukee Mile. What a restart from Aiden Young. Exactly what he needed to do to try and get ahead of the 1-1-4 car.
Yeah, good restart there by Aiden Young. He needs to just pull away as much as he possibly can, and that is going to be the hard part here. That is going to be the hardest part for him there, is getting that pull. And right now, Aiden Young, though, still with the race lead. Vern Bradley is closing in, and he's closing in quite a bit with 19 laps to go. Do you think that Aiden Young's going to try and block him at all?
He has to. He really has to close the door on the inside line because that outside line just cannot work. That's going to be key, and what a wiggle from Vern Bradley, and that's going to give Aiden Young the buffer that he needs for the moment.
Man, this might have put Vern into a situation where he might not win this race. I'd be very surprised by that, but crazier things have happened.
Indeed, they have for sure. We could also see another caution flag, and that could be a big difference maker in this race too, where it could play into Vern Bradley's hands. So all of this could be
there's
a
your
situation.
there's your next caution.
Caution.
Trent Ripley got loose, doesn't hit anything, whips it right around. So Aiden will have to have another good restart. Luckily, though, there will be less laps left in the race. What do you predict's going to happen here?
Honestly, I would probably have to say, I don't expect to see drivers pit. That's for sure. I think they stay out, and we'll go from there. Now, it could be a situation where if the leader stays out, everybody goes in a pit. If the leader pits, everybody stays out. So it could be one of those situations too.
All right, well, we'll be right back on ASN. Don't go anywhere. 12 laps to go. Jacob Young again with the green. What do you expect to see?
To see some hard racing, just like I kind of expected a couple of cautions late in this race, and just like we kind of saw right there, that, well, Aiden Young decided to pit. So now we've got a totally different top 5, at least, from Bradley, Richard Holland, Ricky Fagund, and Corey Cook. And just like I said, first place pits, that's normally what will happen. As now, pace car moments away from stepping into pit lane. There it goes, and we're back racing here for maybe the final time at the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, good start there by Vern Bradley, as he'll get the race lead. Exactly what he needed right there. And right now, got another wreck. And that'll be caution number 9. Here's your replay. Hal Amy was involved. Looks like Blankenship got into Hal there. Blankenship into Jared Cox, and that's that, as they say. We'll be right back. Back live here on the American Sim Network as we get ready to go green. And Jacob Young will get you. It'll be 7 laps to go.
All right, 7 laps to go here in this one. Vern Bradley will lead us to the green. Once again, Corey Cook on his outside. And it looks like, well, Aiden Young will be in 6th position as well. Of course, Richard Holland in 3rd place and Ricky Fagon in 4th. But either way, pace car rolls down into pit lane. We're back racing once again here at the Milwaukee Mile. And another fantastic restart by Vern Bradley. Probably the one that he needed.
Yeah, without a doubt, Corey Cook runs 2nd, Richard Holland 3rd. But the question is, can anyone catch Vernon with such limited time left in this race? My answer to that question, I've got to go with no. What do you think?
Probably not as well. Will he have an opportunity to catch Vern Bradley? Vern Bradley has just looked way too impressive here tonight and has had things go his way. Yes, some things not go his way, but other than that, he's led almost every lap here tonight.
And right now, 5 laps to go at the stripe. Vern Bradley is 5 laps away from going to victory lane here tonight. I gotta tell you what, I got a feeling it's gonna happen.
I have a feeling it will happen as well. It just looks very strong out here, and well, nothing more to it. Besides, like he said, he's something about those flat tracks and having a little less grip that really makes him have an advantage over this field is what he kind of said. So showing us exactly how it's done. At,
4 to go.
Well, if you want to call it a short track, well, then it's a short track.
With 4 laps to go here. And Vern Bradley pulling away to the tune of already a full second. If Aiden Young was right behind him, I'd say he'd have a chance, but he's well too far back to have any shot at it, you know?
Exactly, sits in 4th position, but just ran out of time, had some bad luck, decided to pit when he didn't need to apparently, and that was basically all she wrote for him.
Oh dear, excuse me. 2 more times around. It looks like it's going to be Vern Bradley to victory lane here tonight. Lap and a half to go. If anything goes wrong, it is Corey Cook waiting in the wings. Final lap of the race now, presented by Over the Top Designs, the official graphics provider of the American Sim Network. And you can see here, it is all Vern Bradley. No one even coming close to challenging him right now. Through 3 and 4 for the last time. I really don't see anything going wrong. He's led 131 laps at the stripe, and Vern, no doubt, goes to victory lane. Corey Cook bringing it home 2nd, 3rd, Richard Holland, Aiden Young. That wrong button there. And then you have Ricky Fagone, Glenn Jameson, Steve Blankenship, Daniels, Ripley, Amy, Lortz, Cox, Peterson, Martin, Dorr, Cristiano, Weitzel, Updegraff, Hemlinger, McKinney, and Patrick and Craig. But the man, the myth, and even the legend, Vern Bradley, goes to victory lane. We'll let Jacob Young get the interview in. Take it away.
All right, Vern Bradley, how you doing?
I am doing great now.
Talking about that, it was kind of a crazy turn of events there because, well, take us through, I guess, your strategy call where Aiden Young decided to go down pit lane and y'all didn't follow.
Well, I thought about it, and I literally poked my nose down there to see if I could trick about, and I had no intention of pitting. We only had a few laps on the tires, and I had a fast race car, so I could be okay if and hang on, and that's what it was about. So I don't know why he pitted.
Exactly. You and me both, I guess. And so, fantastic race from you. You just had the feel we talked to you during that one of those cautions, and you also said that it helped that the flat track you were just good at it. So I'm guessing the car handled great. And how's this momentum going to carry into next week as well?
Well, actually, sad to report that I'll be running Road to Pro next Tuesday night and won't be racing here. So.
Oh well. I mean, you'll still have good points lead, and
Actually, I'm going to withdraw
we'll
from
see
the
you
points. I'm going to withdraw from the point series here. I'm going to go ahead and let other guys have it. Someone else take my spot. But I ran the Road to Pro last week, and I'm going to continue with the Road.
All right, sounds good. Well, anyone that you'd like to thank, sponsors, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I want to thank everyone at, once again at WFO Racing League that makes this possible, all the people that support us, everyone that tunes in and watches our broadcast, Nation 01 for making these awesome paints for me, Matt for coming over and broadcasting for us, Hal Amy for everything he does behind the scenes, Garrett Helmlinger, Tim Hamlet, Adam Tips, Jared Cox. I'm probably forgetting a few.
All right, well, congratulations on that race win. Good luck next week in Road to Pro. We'll be rooting for you for sure in that series. And, well, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to next week for sure. Had a good start to that whole deal, and hopefully we can continue with some good momentum through Rockingham. But thank you guys. It was an awesome race tonight.
All right, well, next up on the interview block, it is, well, we're going to go to Richard. Well, I'll drop down and talk to Corey Cook, and then I'll come back up here and let you get Richard Holland. So, Corey Cook, if you got a copy on me.
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, second place, how's that one feel?
A lot better than I thought it would go. This was the first laps I ever done on this track. I literally bought the thing before, like 20 minutes before the. So a lot better than I thought I would do for my first time at this track.
All right, well, how did the car handle for you here tonight?
Very free. It was free almost everywhere, even on the straightaway. That tells you just how freaking. And whenever you're coming off the corner, you have to really watch when you get that power down because that car will want to spin out on you. So a lot of the exit was a matter of just watching your throttle, and getting a feel for the car in general.
All right, well, anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Thank my team, Unorthodox Racing, who painted this car. I like it. We do races in our league. They've taught me a lot.
All right, well, thank you for talking to us, man. Great job on the finish.
Thank you. Thank you for broadcasting.
All right, and we'll get Richard Holland with Jacob Young. Take it away.
All right, Richard Holland, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing pretty good as well. Finishing third place at a very tricky track like the Milwaukee Mile must feel pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know. It felt like we had a top 10 car and ended up being in the right place at the right time there, finishing third.
All right. How's the car handling for you there?
Not too bad. I mean, it was a little tight getting in, little tight through the center there, and really loose off. So, but I feel like as the track wore in and kind of rubber got down, you got laps on it. It got better and better as the run went on.
All right. And so, any momentum that you can take from this into next week?
Well, we'll hope so. We've actually been fast the last few weeks. Had a real good run at Rockingham, finished second. So, we had the off week, so we were kind of hoping that didn't bother us. And we went to the back of the field tonight and got caught up in that lap one wreck and had to use my quick repair. So I went all the way to the back and ran around the back for about 30, 40 laps, and then just started slowly picking my way to the front. So yeah, we were pretty good tonight, solid, and I think we'll have some momentum going into next week.
All right, sounds good. Any sponsors that you want to thank, or anybody that you'd like to thank?
Just my team, HJRM. I got them on the car, and teammates and stuff, just for the help that they do and working together. And just want to thank Vern, everybody for putting on the league, and you guys for broadcasting, and we appreciate.
All right, well, hey, congratulations on third place. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again next week.
Yeah, hope so. Thanks.
All right, folks, and from all of us at the American Sim Network, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We'll catch you all in the next one. Have a great night, everybody.